おいで。ここにアイリスがある。ここで踊ろう。
Brazil. The afternoon in Brazil seems a little too quiet as the sunlight shines through the building, creating an irregular shadow on the ground. The two of you who are hurrying to your destination stand out on this quiet street which has only a handful of pedestrians. Unit 29, 31, 35. Here it is, Artem. As you check the map, you walk while following the house numbers. Soon you arrive at your destination. However, next to the exquisite wooden plaque is a tightly shut gate. Artem raises his hand and presses the doorbell. The brief chime pierces the silence, but no one answers. Nobody's home?
少し待つとしよう。ジャッカ氏が戻ってくるかもしれない。
Okay. Under the shade of a tree, Artem takes the map from you and quickly reads it over.
そう広い町ではない。近くに酒場があるようだ。30分経っても戻らないようなら探しに行ってみよう。
Yeah, good thing we noticed the poor signal at the station and bought a map on the spot. Who knows where the GPS will take us if we rely solely on it?
そうだな。思っていたより田舎町のようだ。
Recently, the case you and Artem have been handling has finally come to an end. During this time, you two have been under immense pressure, helping the client pursue compensation for the mistake that caused her child's disability. After finally reaching a satisfactory conclusion to the case, Artem suggested a relaxing trip and the two of you planned it together. But Brazil hadn't been part of your original plan. Hotel room. In a room at the Paralon Capital Hotel, Artem is confirming the next leg of his trip. You are looking at your phone where the page shows the most famous amber artwork in Paralon. One of the pictures quickly catches your attention. It is a pair of cufflinks crafted by the renowned amber artisan Miss Gillian. Alright, before we left, Artem ordered a custom-made suit. If only it could be paired with a special pair of cufflinks. With this in mind, you begin to read her profile in detail. Miss Gillian was born in the small town of Birstdale in Poland, where she showcased her artistic talent from a young age. She draws inspiration from her hometown, blending art with life, and her works are deeply loved by the public. It should suit Artem well. You can't help but imagine Artem taking a break as he leans against the office desk with his arms crossed, sunlight streaming through the window, glinting off his cufflinks. The mattress beside you gently sinks. By the time you snap back to reality, you notice Artem has already put down his tablet and is sitting next to you.
何を考えていたんだ？
You swipe the screen to ensure Artem can't see the picture of the cufflinks before showing him your phone.
琥珀の芸術作品？確かにパランのものは有名だが、興味があるのか？
I guess so. You nod, ultimately deciding to keep the cufflinks a secret from Artem for now and save it as a surprise for later. You put your phone away and gently nudge Artem's arm. Isn't Brazil close by? I was thinking of visiting if we have some free time.
片道2時間といったところか。明日なら行っても問題ないだろう。 だが、あの辺りは牧場が多かったはずだ。君の目的には適さないんじゃないか？
I know, but instead of amber products, I'm more interested in the amber artisans who live there. You repeat Miss Jillian's official introduction to Artem, but your eagerness must have shown, for he smiles and ruffles your hair.
ああ、それなら行くとしようか。
Burstall. After eagerly planning everything, you and Artem board a 2-hour train ride, followed by a bus, before finally arriving in the town center. It would be such a shame if we don't meet Miss Jillian today.
うん。あなた方、ジャッカさんに会いに来たのか？
A question comes from behind. You both turn around and see an elderly man leaning on a cane. He seems to have noticed you lingering at the entrance of Jillian's workshop. He stands behind you, curiously looking you over.
ジャッカさんがどちらにいるかご存知ですか？
ああ、彼女なら北部の展示会に出かけているから、数日は町に戻らないよ。
Eh? Since Jillian's workshop doesn't have an official website, you couldn't find any information about her exhibition plans when you searched it up on the web. Feeling downtrodden by your wasted efforts, you can't help but ask more questions. When will she be back?
明日帰ってくるとは聞いているけど、今は町への列車が運行停止になったから、それも難しいかもしれん。
Suspended?
この町を通る路線は一本で、私たちが来た時には動いていたはずですが。
何せ古いからね。君たちの乗った列車が通った後にトラブルでもあったんだろう。
You and Artem exchange a look, and you can't help but let out a heavy sigh. Now, even getting back is an issue. I'm not sure if this will affect the rest of our plans. Artem takes hold of your wrist. You swallow your concerns and turn to look at him.
本来なら首都の周りを観光するつもりだったが、こうなってしまった以上、流れに身を任せてこのアクシデントを存分に楽しもう。ここの素晴らしい自然を堪能するのも悪くないだろ
All right. After deciding to stay and enjoy a holiday here, Artem unfolds the paper map in front of the old man.
う。この辺りで観光するならどこがおすすめですか？
The old man waves his hand and slides the map back to Artem.
この町にあるのは、あの広い牧場に、さらに奥にある花畑だな。それから祭りだ。あなた方は運がいい。ちょうど花の咲く時期に来られたのだから。
お祭り？
そうだ。この土地を祝う祭りが2日後に開かれる。
That sounds pretty interesting.
ちょうどそこにある酒場。ブルーグラスで祭りの話し合いをするところだったんだ。よければ、一緒に来るかい？
You wink at Artem and he decisively pulls the map and puts it into his pocket.
ではお言葉に甘えて。
ついてきてくれ。
After taking a couple of steps, the old man suddenly turns around as if recalling something.
失礼したね。私はラソタという。しばらく滞在するなら、宿を探す必要があるだろう？酒場のすぐ隣にあるから、後で案内しよう。
As you walk, Tom warmly introduces everything about Brazil, from the hotel's location to where to buy daily necessities.
何か困ったことがあれば、すぐに連絡してくるように。
さすがにご迷惑では。
迷惑？何を言っているのやら。大したことではないさ。
Seeing that he can't refuse Tom's kindness, Artem's thumb gently brushes against the back of your hand. You turn to look at him and nod.
ありがとうございます。
Blue glass in. The heavy glass door opens and the noise from the crowd inside the bar spills through the crack. The bar briefly falls silent for a couple of seconds after your arrival. The middle-aged man sitting further inside raises his glass to Tom.
ラソタさん、遅かったじゃないか。
新しい友人に会ってきたんだ。この二人は。
As he speaks, Tom turns halfway around and briefly introduces you to the crowd. It's probably strange for two outsiders to attend the festival meeting as all eyes are fixed curiously on you. You nervously rub your fingers together. Artem squeezes your hand and interlocks his fingers with yours.
もし都合が悪いようでしたら、私たちは。
何言ってるんだい。カウンター席が空いてるから、そこに座ってくれ。
Before Artem can finish speaking, the man slams his glass onto the table, causing foam to spill. However, he doesn't care and wipes it off with his hand.
ほら、オレックもこう言っているだろう。彼の言う通りにするといい。
After briefly speaking to you, Tom walks over to the man named Eric. Artem gives you a glance and pulls you toward the corner bar. By the time you settle down, the bar has already returned to its initial lively atmosphere. You order 2 non-alcoholic drinks and quietly listen to the discussions around you. However, the noise around you makes it hard to hear clearly, so you swirl your drink as your thoughts gradually drift. Miss Jillian has lived here for a while. Maybe there's someone who collects her work here. I should ask around. You hear Artem's faint sigh beside you, and you turn to look at him in confusion. What's wrong?
今聞こえた話だが、この祭りでは大会が開かれる。大それたものではないらしい。オレックさんが言うには、親睦を深めるための大会だ。どうやらその大会の後には、優勝者へのお祝いを兼ねた祝賀会が行われるそうだ。
A celebration event?
ああ、詳しくはわからないが、ダンスをすると言っている。
Artem picks up his glass and takes a sip. The ice has almost melted, leaving droplets of condensation running down the sides of the glass, leaving a ring of water on the table. You pick up your glass and take a sip. A strand of hair slips from behind your ear, and Artem quickly tucks it back.
我々にとって興味深いのは、今年の優勝商品だろう。ジャッカさんが作った琥珀のアクセサリーのようだ。
Really? What kind of jewelry? Artem's gaze lingers on your ear for a few seconds.
あやめの髪飾りらしいな。
I see. Laughter suddenly erupts from the other side of the bar, interrupting your conversation with Artem. You both turn to look in that direction. Eric raises his glass, already assuming a victorious stance.
よっしゃー。今年は愛しい恋人のために絶対勝ってやれ。
大口叩くなって。ラソタさんは3年連続で勝ってんだ。あの連勝記録を破れるのか。
見てろよ。今年の俺は一味違う。
It seems that Tom's words spark a competitive spirit in everyone as they all eagerly argue over who will take the top spot. Artem lowers his eyes, his expression subtly shifting.
失礼。我々もその大会に参加することはできるでしょうか？
Hold on. He puts his hand on your shoulder but doesn't look at you. You freeze for a moment and don't continue. Artem's voice is not loud but is enough to make the people around the bar stop talking and look over. The young man who was joking with Eric earlier is among them. He scratches his head looking a little conflicted.
地元の祭りだからな。住人以外が参加したことはなかったんじゃないか？
構わないさ。祭りを続けて来られたのもこの地を愛する人々がいたからだ。この土地を知って親しんでくれたらきっとみんなも君らの参加を受け入れるだろう。
具体的に何をすればいいのでしょうか。
Eric crosses his arms and thinks for a moment, then he smiles at you.
俺らは普段牧場で動物の世話をして暮らしてる。祭りまでの数日間、君たちには手伝ってもらいたい。
Dealing with animals? Although you've gotten along with small animals before, you have no experience taking care of them on a ranch. But this is a rare opportunity. You're not sure if Artem sees the excitement in your eyes, but he agrees immediately.
ぜひともやりましょう。ありがとうございます。
それならあなた方には私の牧場で世話をしてもらおうか。
Tom lightly pats his own leg.
数日前に怪我をしてな。ちょうど手伝いが欲しかったんだ。
After finalizing the arrangements, you follow Tom out of the inn. Bristol. Back on the streets again, the sun feels even hotter than before. Tom has you wait in the shade and points toward a nearby alley.
トラックを取りに行くから少し待っててくれ。
わかりました。
As Tom walks away, you tug on Artem's sleeve. Artem, we didn't even ask about the competition before agreeing.
優勝商品がジャッカさんの作品と聞いたら、この機会を逃せないだろ
He's doing it for me. Meeting Artem's gaze, you part your lips, hesitating to tell you your true reason for coming here. Artem mistakes your hesitation for worry. Before you can say anything, he tenderly pinches your cheek.
う。それに、
He pauses, perhaps recalling what just happened, and his gaze drifts toward the inn.
私が君と非日常を体験したいと思ったんだ。
Alright, then we'll give it a whirl. Before long, Tom arrives in an off-road truck and waves you two over, signaling for you to hop in. The open truck bed is lined with clean straw. Artem steps in first and then helps you up.
さあ出発しよう。
The small truck moves steadily along the town's road. The wind tousles your hair as you travel. Artem takes the hair tie from his wrist and quickly helps you tie up your hair, but the shorter strands still brush against your cheeks in the breeze.
こちらが選ぶものではないとはいえ、髪飾りとは運が良かったかもしれないな。
You freeze for a moment, realizing Artem is talking about the competition's prize. He fixes your hair again as if placing an imaginary hairpin in it.
ラソタさん、大会ではどのようなことが行われるのですか？
知らないで参加すると言ったのか？コントラクトブリッジだよ。毎年これをやっているんだ。
Tom's voice grows faint as it is carried by the winds.
コントラクトブリッジ。
Not expecting such an answer, Artem hesitates briefly. Wasn't expecting that, but it turns out to be Artem's strong suit.
ジャッカさんに会いに来たのだから、大会の優勝商品が目当てかね。
はい、そうです。
なら忠告しておこう。私はここではプロと言われている。大会当日は妻との30回目の結婚記念日にあたる。何よりあやめは私たちの愛の証だ。愛する人のためにこの手に勝利を。私たちの習わしだ。いくら縁があろうとも手加減はせんよ。
それを聞いて安心しました。
The townscape gradually fades as the cobblestone streets give way to dirt roads and golden sunlight dances across the lush greenery. The red brick warehouse is at the end of the road. Tom slows down as he approaches it.
もうすぐ牧場だ。
Ranch. The off-road vehicle is parked in front of the warehouse. Tom points to the nearby herd of cattle and the flock of sheep in the distance. The farm isn't big. The tasks you need to complete are trimming the sheep's wool and milking the cows. That doesn't sound too difficult.
そうだった。少し待ってくれ。
After saying this, Tom turns around and walks into the warehouse. In just a few minutes, he comes back holding 2 piles of clothes.
その格好じゃ何かと不便だと思ってね。この作業服を貸すから着替えておきなさい。
ありがとうございます。
After changing the clothing and asking Tom about the precautions for taking care of the animals, you and Artem head straight to the sheep pen. Pushing open the fence, you see a few sheep grazing with their heads down. One of them lifts its head to look at you and slowly moves closer. It's so cute! You bend down to touch the sheep's head. It rubs its head against your leg.
君のことを気に入ったんじゃないか？
Artem reaches out to pet the sheep, but it doesn't seem to like him as much as it likes you. It turns its head away from him and lets out a bleat. He pauses, holding his hand mid-air above the sheep's head, and then gives you a helpless glance.
なるほど。私はあまり歓迎されていないようだ。
Maybe it's because you're dressed like the people who used to hear it, so it's wary of you. Hearing your words, Artem glances down at his uniform and runs his finger over the fluffy rabbit embroidery on his denim strap.
だからこれをつけてくれたのか？警戒されないようにと。
Not really, I just thought it looked cute.
かわいい。
Yeah, when I'm with adorable animals, I want to make myself and the people I like look cute too. If it weren't so hot, I'd even want to wear something fluffy myself.
それでは、君も羊になってしまうな。
That wouldn't be so bad. As you speak, you secure the sheep in your arms. It lies belly up, its 4 legs in the air. You gently nudge Artem's arm. Let's get started. The sheep is being so cooperative that you think the shearing will go smoothly. However, when Artem switches on the clippers... Wait, Artem, I can't restrain it. As the clippers burst, the sheep suddenly starts to struggle, kicking its hind legs like it's trying to push Artem away.
大丈夫か？私が変わろう。
But when Artem turns off the clippers, the sheep immediately calms down, even lifting its head to blink at you.
大丈夫か？
I'm fine, but you... During the struggle, the sheep kicked up some dirt which now clings to Artem's cheek. Artem wipes his face with his wrist, but instead of cleaning it, he smears the dirt into a thin streak. He stares at the mud on his glove in silence before sighing in resignation. Here, let me help you.
いや、手を離せば後で捕まえられないかもしれない。毛を刈るのが先だ。
Artem pats the ship's belly.
突然バリカンをつけたから驚いたのかもしれないな。今度は気をつけるとしよ
This time, Artem turns on the clippers and moves them slowly toward the ship. Just like before, the ship kicks its hind legs in protest, but as soon as Artem turns off the clipper, it quiets down again.
う。もしかしてわざとやっているのか？
You glance down and perhaps influenced by Artem's words, feel like you see a mischievous expression on the ship's face. It's rare to see Artem struggling to get along with an animal. You hold the ship steady with one hand and reach out toward Artem with the other. How about I give it a try? Artem shakes his head and doesn't hand you the clippers.
これはあまり操作性が良くない。危ないから私がやろ
You glance at the clippers in doubt. They seem straightforward enough. But Artem looks unusually serious, so you nod. Okay, I'll hold on tighter. After many attempts, you and Artem finally manage to shear the first ship. It's finally over. You release the ship, it bleeds twice before walking away. Exhausted, you sit down, shaking Artem's arm and motioning for him to sit beside you.
う。ああ、安心してくれ。コツは大体つかんだ。
A sudden gust of wind interrupts Artem, scattering the thick pile of wool across the grass. For a moment, tufts of white wool stick to your heads. Ah, now we're really fluffy. You wave the wool away from your face as Artem reaches over to help clean your hair.
待ちなさい。ほら、まつげにもついている。
You close your eyes and feel his fingertips brush past the corner of your eyes. It tickles and you can't help but duck your neck back closer to yourself.
もういいぞ。
You open your eyes and help Artem clean up. Then you wipe the remaining dust off his face. Once you both finish tidying up, a group of sheep has already gathered around, as if urging you two to get back to work. I'm all rested up. Let's get back to shearing sheep.
ああ。
As Artem said, he has mastered the technique. Soon he finishes shearing the remaining sheep. After tidying up the sheep pen, you move on to the next task. The cows don't seem to notice your arrival. Artem leads you straight to the storage rack. He quickly checks over the work to be done, but instead of starting, he lowers his gaze in thought. What is it?
いや、ただ乳搾りが順調にいくか少し心配になっただけだ。羊のように牛も頑固とは限らないだろうが。
Thinking about the chaos that had happened earlier tickles your funny bone. You chuckle, shake your head, shove the milk bucket into his hand, and nudge him a couple of steps forward. Why are you worrying about it now? Let's go. Who knows, maybe the cows will take a liking to you. You go on ahead, I'll grab the feed.
ああ、わかった。
Artem nods and walks toward the cows while you turn back to tidy up. Little do you know, your words came true. As you approach with the feed, you see Artem surrounded by an enthusiastic herd of cows. The cows' constant moves mixed with the startled meows of a cat in the corner create a chaotic scene. The cow Artem leads out is licking his hand, while another cow leans over the fence to press its face against his cheek. Artem pressed against the fence, raised his left hand, unsure whether to pat or push away the uninvited guest. Artem, are you okay?
ああ、平気だ。うわ
A cow attempting to break out leans in to lick Artem, who instinctively tilts his head, looking unusually flustered.
前言撤回しよう。あまり大丈夫ではないな。近づいたら、あっという間に囲まれてしまった。
Looks like you're the star of the show. Artem braces himself with a milk bucket, seemingly attempting to stand. However, he is surrounded on all sides, so he gives up after a brief attempt.
ここまで歓迎されるとは予想外だったな。
With both cows finally calm, Artem lets out a sigh of relief and gently pats their heads, making them close their eyes in contentment. He helps you up.
いや、少し待ってくれ。
You stop in your tracks, looking at him quizzically.
牛たちの動きは思いのほか俊敏だ。君に怪我をさせてしまうかもしれない。急に近づけば、ぶつかったり蹴られたりする恐れもある。
Artem glances around before his gaze lands on the feet in your hands.
餌を使っておびき寄せよう。
Okay, wait for me. You pick up the feed and wave it in front of the brown and white cow, successfully grabbing its attention. It sniffs the feed and slowly turns around. You take the chance to back away, leading the cow away from Artem. After settling the cow, you turn back to find Artem still unable to get up. Perhaps emboldened by the absence of competition, another cow moves in and manages to nuzzle Artem's face. Caught off guard, Artem can only accept the situation after a brief moment of surprise. He turns his head slightly and gives the cow a pat.
もう十分じゃないか。そろそろ私を解放してくれ。
The cow lets out a moo as if understanding his words and finally lifts its head to step away from the fence. You quickly walk over to Artem, finally freed. He doesn't rush to stand. Instead, he pulls you to sit beside him on the soft hay.
おかしそうな顔をしているな。
Nothing. This just reminded me of the protagonist in an animated movie who wander into forests.
映画
And the way they talk to animals in the forest, just like what you're doing right now. Artem freezes, then belatedly realizes that he's been talking to a cow.
あれは無意識だった。
You stifle a laugh and tug on Artem's arm. Alright, enough joking around. It's getting late. Let's get back to work.
ああ。
Lawn. After finishing the day's work, you and Artem walk around the ranch while waiting for Tom to pick you up. It's already dusk, the day's heat subsides, and a cool evening breeze gently sweeps through. When Tom said his farm wasn't very big, I thought it'd be a piece of cake. I wasn't expecting it to take this long to complete everything. The faint glow of the sunset that falls on Artem's face reveals a hint of weariness. You glance around, then pulls him to sit down on the grass.
どうした
You must be tired from taking on all the heavy work today.
ああ、そうかもしれないな。
Artem shrugs, not confirming or denying anything.
普段から体を動かしているつもりだったが、こういった力仕事は答えるな。今夜しっかり休めば大丈夫だ。
You turn around and hug him from behind, gently massaging his shoulders. How about I give you a massage? Is this okay?
ああ、ちょうどいいよ。
He seems really tired and soon leans against your legs, closing his eyes. You play with the strands of his hair, recalling how he interacted with the animals earlier and let out a sigh. Actually, I don't really need to get Miss Gillian's work. He opens his eyes, his gaze reflecting your slightly worried expression.
どうしたんだ突然。
Initially, I just wanted to. You pause, touching his brow and noticing how his lashes tremble like a butterfly's wings. You want to understand his true thoughts, but you swallow the urge to confess. I can tell that you're not great at caring for their farm animals. I don't want you to force yourself for my sake.
無理をしていないと言ったら。
Really? As if attempting to coax a smile from you, Artem gently brushes his fingers over your lips.
君が私のことを気にかけるように、私も君が心配なんだ。この旅行を心から楽しんでもらいたいからな。大切な人の願いを叶えたいだけで、無理などしていないよ。それに、私自身、本気で大会に参加したいと思っている。なぜなら。
It's obvious he's holding something back, but Artem doesn't elaborate further.
まあ、このことについては、いずれ話そう。
Why does it feel like both Artem and I are hiding something from each other?
何言ってんだよ。俺のおじさんが最強だ。
The sound of children's voices reaches you. Both you and Artem stop talking as he sits up and looks toward the noise. Two children are walking toward you, seemingly making guesses about who will win the festival competition. Although the festival is unique to the locals of Bristol, everyone, young and old, takes it very seriously.
思い思いに楽しみ、自分の考えや気持ちを隠す必要もないから、街全体で取り組めるのだろう。
As the kids approach, Artem brushes off the dust and grass from his hands before helping you stand.
あれ、あの人たち、ラソタじいちゃんが連れてきた人だ。
知ってる。町の外から来たんでしょ。ねえ、あの人たちに聞いてみるのはどう？
Before the little girl can finish, the boy runs up to you first.
兄ちゃん姉ちゃん、僕たち大会で誰が勝つか賭けをしてるんだけど。
絶対ラソタおじいちゃんが勝つよ。
Before you can get the full story, the kids start arguing again, each only supporting their own choice and refusing to back down.
あのさ、兄ちゃんはどっちが勝つと思う？
そうだな。
Two pairs of bright, expectant eyes stare at Artem, leaving the usually eloquent lawyer at a loss. You lean close to him, pretending to whisper as you tease him. Even someone like you, the great Mr. Wing, will struggle with such a complicated case.
なんとか和解に持ち込みたいところだが、曖昧な答えでは二人とも納得しないだろう。君の力を借りたい。どうしたらいいだろうか。
Artem leans in to whisper by your ear, his gaze pleading as if you're his only hope. It makes you want to agree to his request. Before you know it, you've already nodded. Well, as the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. You crouch down, giving the two kids a serious look and then points to Artem. You both make good points, but I'm betting on him to win.
おじいちゃんの敵が増えちゃったってこと？
You successfully shed the judge roll, only for the kids to latch onto Artem's legs. The next second, demanding to know his secret to winning.
必勝法？それは。
His voice is soon drowned out by the kids' chatter, and he shoots a helpless glance your way.
これでは途中で降りられそうもないな。
はっはっは。なんだ、すっかり仲良しじゃないか。
Eric's cheerful voice rings out. You don't quite know when he'd gotten here. Seeing him, the boy shouts, Uncle! And runs into his arms.
オレックさん、こんにちは。
楽しそうで何よりだよ。それにしても、随分と勝つ自信があるようだな。
そうですね。得意分野ではありますし。
Autumn glances at you discreetly.
優勝商品にも魅力を感じていますので。
そうか。それじゃ、会場で会おう。
参加を認めてくれるということですか？
さっきの働きぶりを見てたよ。君たちはこの土地に敬意を見せてくれた。安心しな。君たちは大会に出場できると思う。
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Howler. 2 days later, the festival arrives as scheduled, and Autumn successfully qualifies for the competition. That evening, after finishing your work on the ranch, you head to the Blue Glass Inn with them. Blue Glass Inn.
おう、来た来た。くじ引きでチーム分けをするぞ。例年通り、まずは団体戦からっと。
After a brief explanation of the format and scoring rules, Artem draws his lot for his group. You've seen Artem play bridge before. You know it's a game for 2 teams of 2, but the detailed rules. Tonight's pairings are random. Will that be okay? Sensing your concern, Artem lightly rubs your knuckles, reassuring you.
ああ、さっき確認したんだが、ここでは簡略化したルールで行うと聞いた。さほど支障は出ないだろう。
It is? Since the match hasn't started yet, Artem casually picks up a deck and starts explaining the rules.
通常、コントラクトブリッジにはビッドがある。プレイヤーは4人でペア戦を行う。ジョーカーを抜いて、各プレイヤーには13枚のカードが配られる。その後、プレイヤーは順番に数字と数とを選んで、勝利条件を宣言していく。これをビッドと言うんだ。数字は1から7まで。数とにはランクがあり、ここで最後にビッドされた数字と数とがトランプ。切り札になる。
Do you have to choose a trump suit? Artem shakes his head, shuffles the deck, and draws a 2 of hearts from the cascade of cards in his hand.
いや、必ず選ぶ必要はない。数とを選ばないときは、ノートランプと呼ばれる。これが通常のルールだが、今回の試合では、すべてノートランプとして扱われるらしい。つまり、最初に決まったビッドより、6大きい数で相手に勝てるかどうかが勝敗に関わってくる。
You point to the 2 of hearts in his hand. So, if the contract is hearts at 2, whoever wins each treat wins the game.
そうだ。
I see. It doesn't seem as hard as I thought.
興味があるなら、帰った後に友人を招待して、一緒にやってみようか。
Okay. The game is already starting as you speak. Artem holds the drawing slip and finds his seat. You stand a short distance away, lips moving as you encourage him. The matches are over in a few minutes. Artem wins every match, and he makes it to the finals without much effort. Around the square, there are 4 people sitting around a table. There are Artem, Tom, Eric, and a young man named Paul. Artem and Tom are paired up as the east and west, while Eric and Paul are the north and south. The 4 are seated at a table with a scoreboard. You look at the scoreboard. Currently, Tom is in first place and Artem is in second.
皆顔見知りだな。では静馬さん、カードを配ってくれるかね。
はい。
In the rules of the contract bridge, the player who first has their hand empty will start the round and call the cards. A deck of cards that has been shuffled and placed into a neat pile is handed to Artem, who then proceeds to deal the cards. However, after seeing the cards, Artem frowns. He has more hearts than other suits, but he doesn't have enough spades. Will it affect the game if he doesn't follow suit? Most of the onlookers are standing behind the other three, with only you and the young man who meets you at the tavern standing behind Artem. Everyone present remains silent, waiting for Artem to make his call. He glances at the cards, then speaks slowly.
ハートのエース。
The young man next to you seems surprised, while Tom shows a look of approval on his face after Artem's bid. The young man notices your confusion and explains in a low voice.
彼の手札には7枚のハートがあるだろう。普通なら隣にあるクラブの2から宣言する。そうすればラソタさんに勝ち筋を伝えられる。まさか初っ端から面白い展開になるなんて。
As the bidding continues, the young man's admiration keeps reaching your ears. You understand how Artem is testing Tom by using his most normal sounding call to get him to reveal his suit and hint at the full game.
本当にすごいよ。
Does this not often happen when playing contract bridge?
珍しいどころか例年の大会のレベルをはるかに上回ってるよ。
Far beyond the level. Knowing Artem, even if he wanted to win, he would choose a gentler way to do it, instead of going all out like this. You look at his profile and you suddenly realize that he is especially persistent this time when it comes to the results of the race. The match continues smoothly. By the time you snap back to your senses, the crowd erupts in cheers. Artem has rightfully claimed first place. His opponents all held looks of admiration due to his exceptional performance.
さあ、お待ちかねの授賞式だ。
Amidst the enthusiastic urging of the crowd, Eric heartily pats his shoulder and places the jewelry box into his hand.
おめでとう。ほら、これが優勝商品だ。愛する人に渡してやれ。
You are pushed forward by the crowd to where Artem is. Under the warm yellow light and amidst the crowd's teasing, Artem opens the box. An iris carved out of amber sparkles with a warm glow, as if it's in full bloom.
これを君に捧げるよ。私の愛する人。
You don't even notice the flower blooming for you here as you look up, wanting only to keep Artem in your gaze. Can you put it on for me? He smiles and nods, first lifting the strand of hair that always slips from where you have it tucked behind your ear, then tucking the iris hairpin in place.
綺麗だ。よく似合っている。
I like it. At that moment, you feel like the gazes and voices around you vanish, and you are overwhelmed by strong emotion, unable to stop yourself from tiptoeing. And Artem, pretending to adjust the curve of the hairpin, lets his fingertips slide over your earlobe.
君と二人きりでないことが残念だ。
Huh? In a volume only you can hear, in a language only you understand.
今ここで君にキスしたい。
Artem? The crowd applauds again and lively music plays. Eric waves his hand, already leading the dance in the center of the tavern.
さあ踊ろう。祭りの夜だ。ぼんやりしてちゃもったいないぞ。
Artem pulls you into the crowd, and you are like tropical fish about to dive into the sea, ignoring everything but each other.
おいで。ここにアイリスがある。ここで踊ろう。
You smile and grabs his hand, moving closer to your love. The hem of your dress sways and your steps are light. On this night means for celebration, you want to dance endlessly with him. The celebration lasts until late into the night. By the time the inn quiets down, you realize how tired you are.
もう遅いし、そろそろ帰って休もうか。
二人とも少し待ってくれないかね。
You turn around and notice that Tom hasn't left yet. The inn has dimmed half of its lights, and in the dim environment, you see an embarrassed look on his face. What is it, Tom?
すまないが、実は頼み事があって。
Tom looks at you, then at Artem, hesitating for a moment before he clenches his teeth and speaks.
アイリスは私と妻にとって特別な意味があるんだ。失礼を承知でお願いしたい。どうかその髪飾りを譲ってもらえないだろうか。
Afraid of a misunderstanding, Tom quickly waved his hand after speaking.
私の家には琥珀のコレクションがある。もしよければ好きなものと交換しよう。
Exchange? Maybe I can get those cufflinks. You instinctively touch the hairpin, then look at Artem. In the past, you'd always discuss and choose the best possible outcome, but this time Artem hesitates more than usual. Does he have concerns about doing so? You think this might be the only chance to get those cufflinks, so you push aside your worries and shake Artem's hand. Tom, why don't we go to Mr. Farrell's house? Maybe we'll find something more suitable from his collection. He lowers his keys, thinking for a while, then softly nods.
君の意思を尊重しよう。ただ、
His lips move, but no complete sentence comes out. You want to figure out what Artem's expression meant, but he has already composed himself. You quietly wait for Artem's decision. He remains in thought but doesn't make an immediate decision.
君はどうしたい？
This is a gift you gave me. I'll leave the decision to you. Artem looks at Tom, meeting his eager gaze. Artem smiles helplessly.
本当はこの髪飾りを君に贈りたかった。けど、心から求めている人の気持ちをないがしろにすることはできないな。
Artem nods at Tom.
わかりました。こちらの髪飾りは譲ります。
ありがとう。感謝するよ。
Tom Farrell's home. As the stars twinkle, you arrive at Tom's home, located beside the ranch. The display cabinet isn't large, but it's clear that Tom cherishes these amber items, taking meticulous care of each one. Ah, here it is. There's a pair of amber cufflinks in the corner, and you point them out to Tom. May I exchange it for this pair of cufflinks?
ああ、もちろんだとも。
After handing you the cufflinks, Tom leaves the collection room, saying he wants to show his wife the hair clip. You fiddle with the cufflinks and realize Artem has been silent for quite a while. When you look up, he has a slightly surprised expression.
なぜこれを変えようと？
You open Artem's palm and place the velvet box in it. Letting out a small sigh of relief, you feel as if you fulfill a wish. Actually, I've wanted to get a pair of cufflinks for you for a while now. I wanted to keep it as a small surprise, so I didn't mention it earlier. Artem glanced at his wrist, a flicker of regret passing through his eyes. He gently strokes the edge of the cufflinks. The amber catches the light and faintly reflects on his fingertips.
出発前にスーツを新調したからか？
Partly, but not entirely. You clasp Artem's wrist, your thumb brushing against the side as if personally fastening the cufflinks. Sometimes there's no need for a reason to give a gift to a loved one. Besides, in an intimate relationship, cufflinks can be a profoundly symbolic gift of belonging.
独占欲？
You meet Artem's gaze. He clearly understands your meaning but still asks for more. Even though it's just the two of you in the collection room, you can't help but tiptoe closer to Artem and whisper in a voice only he can hear. Because this is a gift only I can give you. When you wear these cufflinks, they'll become our unspoken secret. It is my claim on you. Instead of a verbal reply, he plants a kiss on your lips. You naturally wrap your arms around his neck and bury yourself in his embrace. But if I'd known things would come to this, I would have told you much earlier. But you wouldn't have been so fixated on winning because of me.
知っていたのか？
Yes, qualifying for the competition, doing things you're not good at on the ranch, and being so ruthless in the match. Although everything points to this hairpin, I feel like there's more to it. Artem shakes his head and ruffles your hair.
君の言う通りだ。
The door to the collection room creaks open, interrupting Artem's sight. You let go of him as Tom steps inside.
今日はもう遅い。今から町に帰るのも大変だろう。客室があるんだよ。よかったら泊まっていくといい。
You glance at the time, it's already past midnight. You decide to accept his offer since you'll also need him to bring you both back to the town's inn.
ところで、線路の修理は終わったのでしょうか？
あと2日はかかるんじゃないかな。急ぎなのかい？
はい。もう帰国日が迫ってまして。
Tom strokes his chin in thought.
だとすると、列車は間に合わないだろうな。隣町から出発すれば、別の列車があるかもしれん。遠回りになるが、帰国の日程には間に合うだろ
う。なら、明日ここを立とう。
Okay.
隣町までは少し距離があるから、私が送っていこう。牧場の仕事が終わってからの出発でも大丈夫だろうか。
Thank you. We'll take you up on that.
はい。我々も協力します。
Ranch. The next day, you continue helping on the ranch. After a few days here, you've become quite familiar with the tasks. During your break, you pull Artem down to sit on the grass. Even the mischievous sheep, who has grown fond of him over the past days, curls up by his leg. Artem absentmindedly strokes the sheep's head. It feels like we've been living here for a long time.
ああ。別れの日だというのに、単に遠出をするように思える。
Artem brushes away a strand of your hair that had fallen forward, his fingers gliding gently along the curve of your ear. Artem, are you still thinking about that hair clip?
少しな。
You wrap your arm around Artem's and lean into his embrace. speak out another one when we return. Artem nods slightly, his gaze lingering by your ear. The final day in Brazil passes uneventfully, with nothing particularly noteworthy happen. Midway through, Artem is called away by Eric for assistance, and by the time he returns, it's nearly time to say goodbye. From afar, you see Artem waving to Eric before walking toward you with his hands clasped behind his back. Artem, we're about to... Before you can finish, Artem suddenly pulls a wreath from behind him and places it on your head. It's not the usual kind of flower crown you've made before. Artem has designed it so that one bloom neatly secures your hair in place. This is... The sweet fragrance of flowers fills the air. Artem leans closer, your noses nearly touching, your breath intertwining.
髪飾りほど特別なものではないが、君に何かを残したかった。
This is more than enough.
おーい、出発の時間だ。
Tom waits nearby in his off-road truck. Artem picks up his modest luggage and takes your hand as you both board the vehicle. Just like before, you are sitting on the soft, dry straw. This time, as the setting sun lights the path, you leave the ranch behind. Birds fly overhead, stirring up a gentle evening breeze. You hear the rustle of leaves in the wind. As your flower crown starts to shift, Artem raises his hand to steady it. That was close. It almost flew away.
大丈夫だ。飛ばされたとしても、また作ればいい。
You adjust the flowers in your arms as Artem picks one and places it in his palm.
髪飾りでも、花冠でも、私が本当にしたかったことに比べたら、さほど重要ではないのかもしれない。
Is it about that thing you said you'd tell me when the time is right?
ああ。本来であれば、昨夜に話すつもりだったが。
Artem lowers his head, stepping closer as the golden light between you fades away.
最初に酒場に行って、大会の話をしていた時のことを覚えているか？あの時、このように言っていた。愛する人のために勝利するんだ、と。
Eh? Through Artem's eyes, you catch a glimpse of your fleeting surprise.
人は多少なりとも環境に左右される。内向的なものが周囲の影響を受けて、普段とは違うことをすることもあるだろう。だから、彼らが勝利への思いを口にしていたのを見て、私はふと思ったんだ。君にふさわしい、君の心に応えられるような贈り物を勝ち取りたいと。あのカフスボタンのようにな。
His fingers curls around the flower stem in his hand, although he is unable to salvage the petals carried away by the wind. In the end, our feelings are aligned. You smile and rest your head on Artem's shoulder, letting go of the flower stem to hold his hand instead. I already have it, Artem.
花冠か？
Not just that, but also a heart that's solely mine. The wind, birdsong, and the low rumble of the truck's wheels combine into a symphony that nearly drowns out your words. But you know Artem will hear them.
元気か？ん？目をこすってるが、財前の家で眠れなかったのか？ああ、やはり徹夜したんだな。はあ、君が泊まりに誘われた時から、こうなると思っていたんだ。彼女からいろいろ聞かされたんじゃないか？学生時代のことだとか。もしよければ、 本当のことを伝えたい。あの時は確か、大学2年の夏休みで、ボランティア活動に参加したんだ。子供たちに勉強を教えたり、草刈りや簡単な畑仕事の手伝いをしたりした。農業についていろいろと予習したつもりだったが、実際にやってみると、多くの失敗をしたよ。当時は恥ずかしかったが、今となってはいい思い出だな。君がいるからだろうか。その甲斐あって、先日の作業ではすぐにコツをつかむことができた。あ、そうだ。君に伝えたいことが、届いた荷物を整理していたら、ラソタさんから送られてきたものがあってな。最初は驚いたが、開けたら彼の意図がすぐに分かった。私たちの買った羊毛で編んだマフラーだよ。そうだな。記念になる特別な贈り物だ。まだ暑いが、寒くなったらマフラーを巻いて一緒に出かけよう。待ちきれない？待つ間にも新しい思い出ができる。今気長に待とう。財前の声だな。ああ、行くといい。帰りは迎えに行く。また後で。